Okay. Yeah, there's glare.
Somebody's clear. I know what you're thinking. Another safety training to sit through. And fire extinguishers? I mean, doesn't everyone know how to use a fire extinguisher? Well, actually, no. And when you've got a fire on the job and there's smoke and people yelling, alarms going off, that's not the time to figure it out. You see, fire's a tricky thing. Putting out a fire means knowing something about what's burning, how it burns, and how you can control it and put it out safely. Before we get into it, remember one thing. If a fire is spreading and you don't know what to do or don't think you can control it, get out. Bottom line, we want you safe. All right, today we're going to talk about what makes different fires burn, the 5 different classes of fire, and why you have to use the right type of extinguisher to put out each kind of fire. And we're going to learn about how to inspect an extinguisher to make sure it's ready when you need it, and how to use a fire extinguisher effectively. There's a line you need to know, so pay attention. All right, let's get to it, starting with how fires burn and what keeps them burning. Here's the basic breakdown. Fires need fuel, oxygen, and enough heat to set it off. This is the key. Take away one of these elements, the fire goes out. Now, let's talk about the 5 classes of fire. The class of the fire is determined by the source of the fire or type of fuel that's burning. This is important because each class of fire requires a specific type of extinguisher to put it out. Right tool for the job, so to speak. Here we go. Class A. These are combustible solids like wood, paper, rubber, and basically the kind of material found in dumpsters, garbage cans, and pallet sacks. Class B. These are flammable liquids like petroleum products, gasoline, oil, paint, solvents, kerosene, etc. These are particularly dangerous because these liquids can be ignited by a flame or a stray spark, and these fires can spread fast. Class C, electrical fires. Energized equipment like power tools, switches, appliances, power boxes are even more dangerous because you've got a live current to deal with. Class D, metal. That's right, some metals are combustible, like magnesium, titanium, even potassium and sodium not only burn at high temperatures, but can react violently with water and some other chemicals. Class K. The K is for kitchens. These are fires that are fueled by cooking oils and kitchen equipment, like deep fryers. In every situation, you have to know the right extinguisher or agent to use, one that's designed for that type of fire. There are a number of different kinds of fire extinguishers specifically designed to deal with the different classes of fire. Multi-purpose dry chemicals, carbon dioxide, water, clean agent, wet chemical, and foam. Knowing the type of fire tells you the right kind of extinguisher to use. And it's not all that complicated because the class of fire that each fire extinguisher is designed for is shown right on the faceplate. So, you use a type A extinguisher for a Class A fire, a type B for a Class B, a type C for a Class C fire, and so on. Now, that makes sense, doesn't it? Now, some extinguishers are labeled CC, like carbon dioxide, or type A extinguisher on an electrical or Class C fire. The water or foam applied from this type of extinguisher can conduct electricity, which means you could be electrocuted. It's simple. Match the type of extinguisher with the class of fire and you're set. But you've got to know how to use them correctly and effectively. If not, your chances of controlling and putting out a fire are pretty slim. So let's get into it. Most common types are simple to use. You've probably heard of the PASS method. This stands for pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Stand back about 8 feet from the fire. Hold the unit upright. Pull out the safety pin. Free the hose and aim it at the base of the fire. Then, to squeeze the discharge lever while you sweep the stream of extinguishing agent from side to side to completely cover the area until the fire is out. Now, that's the basics, but there are some specific detail techniques for handling different types of fires. With a fire fueled by paper, trash, or rubbish, in other words, a Class A fire, you should thoroughly cover the burning material with the extinguishing agent to put out the fire. Whether you're using a multi-purpose dry chemical or a water extinguisher, you then need to use a shovel or rake to turn over the debris, checking for any remaining hot spots, and respray those areas. Class B or flammable liquid fires can flare up when you first hit them with the extinguisher spray. Don't let it throw you. Just start at the nearest edge and work it across the burning surface. Be careful that you do not spread the fire with the extinguisher stream. If you're using foam, make sure it completely blankets the fire so it can form a layer on top of the flammable liquid. Stop your foam stream every so often and allow the foam layer to blanket the surface of the burning liquid. Apply more foam as needed until the fire is out. If you have to put out a Class C fire that is near computers or electrical equipment, you should use a carbon dioxide or a clean agent fire extinguisher. Carbon dioxide extinguishers look like this. And discharge? Yep, carbon dioxide, or CO2. The CO2 displaces the oxygen in the air, and the fire goes out. Clean agent extinguishers use an environmentally friendly chemical that puts out the fire without the hazards of water or without the possibility of damaging sensitive electronic equipment. A multi-purpose dry chemical extinguisher will work on a Class C fire, but these will leave behind a residue that can harm electrical equipment. Class D fires involving combustible metals need a special kind of extinguisher that looks like this. Look for the star on the label and check with your supervisor for any special firefighting instructions for the type of metal that you're working with in your area. To fight a Class D fire, you should start about 3 feet away from the fire and smother the burning metal with the extinguishing agent. Pause for a moment, check for any hot spots, and reapply as needed. Be sure to wait for the metal to cool before you sweep up the debris. That brings us to the Class K extinguisher. Class K extinguishers, also known as wet chemical extinguishers, are found in commercial kitchens and are specifically designed for the types of fires that can start in cooking appliances, like deep fat fryers. These types of fires are hard to control because of the high temperature of the cooking oil and the insulated design of the equipment that keeps the heat in the fryer. The key is to smother the fire and cool down the oil. If you have a fire in a deep fryer, the first thing you need to do is activate your fixed fire suppression system, if it isn't automatic, and back away from the flare area. If the fixed system doesn't work, then you can use the Type K extinguisher. When you discharge a Type K extinguisher, the liquid is dispensed as a fine mist and mixes with the cooking oil to create a soapy foam. The foam layer smothers the fire, while the liquid reduces the temperature of the oil. You need to completely discharge the extinguisher to ensure that the fire doesn't reignite as the oil is cooling. If there's a fire in your work area, you're going to need to find an extinguisher in a hurry, right? If you look around, you will usually see a fire extinguisher within 50 to 75 feet. Now, in more hazardous locations, like storage areas that contain flammable liquids, or refueling areas, or areas where welding or cutting is being performed, this distance should be 30 feet. And of course, you will usually easily find a fire extinguisher at every exit. Your employer has probably selected and placed the right types of extinguishers in the right locations for the types of fires you're most likely to have at your workplace. It's a good idea to take a look and make sure that they have been switched around or are missing. You don't have to figure this out when you see a fire. So anytime you start working in a new area, take a minute to find out where the fire extinguishers are located. It's easy, and it could mean a world of difference in a fire emergency. Fire extinguishers need to be inspected on a regular basis. Your company probably has a routine for this procedure. Here's what needs to be checked. Make sure the extinguisher is easily accessible and not blocked by anything. Check the seal. Make sure it hasn't been broken or tampered with. Make sure the pin, nozzle, hose, and faceplate are intact. And if it has a gauge like this, make sure it reads fully charged. Check the tag to see if the service schedule is up to date. The service date should be within the past year. If the extinguisher has been used, or even if the seal is broken, you need to treat it as if it is empty and take it to your supervisor to get it refilled. That brings us to an important point. Let your supervisor know anytime you have a problem with an extinguisher, or if you've seen one is missing, empty, or damaged. Again, a little action on your part can make a big difference down the road. You can save a life. All right, that's your fire extinguisher 101. But what should you do when you see a fire? They've got a fire in the shop, you gotta get out. First, alert the folks around you so they can shut down the equipment and get out of the building. Then you need to activate the building fire alarm or have someone call 911 to get the fire department rolling in case the fire cannot be put out with a fire extinguisher. Next, you have to decide if you can put it out yourself. If it's too big or getting out of control, an extinguisher may not put it out. Don't be a dead hero. Sometimes the best thing to do is get out of the area. If you choose to fight the fire with an extinguisher, always make sure you have a safe escape route away from the fire. So here's the drill. Start by alerting people in the area. Just yell fire and make sure that you're heard. Then pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, and squeeze the discharge lever. Sweep the stream of extinguishing agent from side to side and cover the fire area until the fire is completely out. Now remember, all fires, big or small, need to be reported, and any extinguishers that were used should be considered empty and need to be refilled. It really comes down to being aware, like being aware of the fire extinguishers in your area, being aware of what type they are, whether they are fully charged, ready to use. Keep your eyes open and pay attention. Knowing what you know about fires and fire extinguishers can make a big difference in your safety and the safety of the folks that work with you.